I am the biggest Drake stan on the internet. I've seen other people be dubbed that title and even go head to head with people like Anthony Fantano and debate him on Drake projects and whatnot. And I gotta say, those people, I don't think they're as big as Drake fans as I am. So I think I got to get that next debate. But Drake just dropped a new album. Well, like an EP's worth of new songs that he put onto a deluxe edition of his last album, For All the Dogs, that came out like just a couple weeks ago. And then he already dropped this deluxe, and he had some other features on there from J. Cole, as well as, like I said, 4 or 5 other songs. It was really, really cool. As a Drake fan, I'm hyped because this dude is dropping so much goddamn music in the last like 2 years. I mean, 3 years really. That it's getting a little absurd. You know, I love it. I love it. It's like I don't gotta wait super long to hear a new Drake project or hear new Drake songs because, I mean, you know, people can say whatever they want to about him maybe having a miss or a dud here or there, whenever. But I'll tell you what, man, if he puts out a body of work, there's going to be slappers on there, even for the casuals that aren't Drake fans. But the reason we're talking about the album today is not because of how much I love it or because I do think it's good. Instead, because, you know, tabloids, drama, this is a podcast, we cover entertainment stuff, we cover news stuff like that. Some lyrics on these new tracks are stirring the pot a little bit, which our boy Drizzy Drake does very, very well. He's been doing that constantly, but recently he had given some bars to a bunch of different rappers, Joe Budden, Pusha T, other people like that, and he also mentioned Taylor Swift on his song Red Button that just came out on this additional pack. The line, which I'll read to you guys and then we can react together to it, it goes as follows. Taylor Swift, the only N-word that I ever rated. Only one could make me drop the album just a little later. The rest of y'all, I treat you like you never made it. Right? So he's talking that shit, man. He's letting these other rappers know, honestly, even pop stars, anybody know that when Drake wants to drop, he's going to have the number one spot, and there's only one person he respects enough to not drop the same week of an S. Taylor Swift. And I've been trying to tell the Swifties for months, for years, that Drake and T Swift are on the same team, bro. I remember back when Apple Music did all their, when there was like the streaming wars and all the streamers like Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, they were all trying to like sign artists' albums to like exclusive release deals or to like come out first on their stuff. I remember like Taylor Swift and Drake did a bunch of Apple Music commercials where they were each like singing each other's songs in the gym and stuff, and it was really funny. And I remember telling people then, like, bro, we need that Drake and T Swift collab. Now we still haven't gotten the collab, but at least we know they got respect for each other, and I think that's cool. I think that's fun. I know some Swifties maybe aren't listening to Drake, but I tell you what, from a marketing standpoint, putting that bar in that song, we're going to take some Swifties over, okay? They're going to come over. They're going to be, I don't know what Drake's fans will be called. I think that's just everybody. But we got, you know, some more people joining into that group because of this track. And I do think it's hilarious when you like really think about it. So for people that don't know context-wise, for context, in the music industry, if let's say I'm dropping one week and it's like announced that like, okay, Darren Rita is dropping this week. In reality, no one will give a shit because it's Darren Rita, and that's not going to chart or anything. But let's say a big artist says that. All right, a big artist says, hey, I'm dropping, what's the date today? It's the 20th, right? So let's say a big artist says, I'm dropping next week, November, whatever that's going to be, or December 1st or whatever. They're dropping on that Friday. That means that person's album sales for the first week will be competing against any other album sales that same week. So if I know that a huge artist is going to drop an album on a certain week, and my goal is to maybe try to get a number one album, so that's judged off, you know, sales. So number one album first week, I would not want to drop on that same day or the same week. Right, I would try to be like strategically figuring out a week where maybe like Adele's not dropping, Drake's not dropping, Taylor Swift's not dropping, that maybe I can, if I'm like a B-list or just on the verge of A-list celebrity could maybe catch a number one album, because just having a number one album is going to boost you even more, because then you're going to have that other promotion. But it's something that a lot of people in the music industry, they do look at, right? Where they're like, I got to push the album back because Drake's dropping. I don't want to drop the same week as Drake. Like maybe I could have a top 10 album, but if I drop the same week as Drake, that's going to push me another spot, whatever it is. So that's something that a lot of people take into consideration. What does full circle mean, says Aiden? I'm not sure, man. In what capacity are you talking about? Because I got a buddy named Big Ty who said here on this podcast, this is the only reason I'll repeat it, that if he were to suck his own thing, he would have to finish in his own mouth, and that's what he considers full circle. I'm going to let him have that one. I don't know. I don't have necessarily an opinion on that, but that is Big Ty, Dr. Tizzle. He's been on the show. Thanos, even. He's been on the show a bunch of times. That's his theory there. Ryan says, what about the Green Bean Castro? We're going to get to it, man. We're going to get to all that stuff here in a second. We got a little bit more on Drake's album here. But so that's for people that don't know, that's what it's all about. In the music industry, you're trying to get a number one album. And if you're not the biggest of the big, you do have to be, selective in what week you're dropping. So that if the goal is to get a number one album or a top 10 album, whatever that is. So he mentioned that he don't respect anybody except for Taylor Swift. And I thought the bar was hard as well as hilarious that it's Taylor Swift specifically. Now, one other thing I got to throw in there on this album, because I got friends that listen to her. Rosalia is a singer-songwriter artist who's super talented, and I've got to hear just a little bit of her stuff recently from one of my friends that's big into her. Drake, which is hilarious because I'm the biggest Drake stan. I know she's big into Rosalia, so Drake mentions Rosalia on one of these new songs called Evil Ways. He says, next time I get in Rosalia's face, I hope she tell her people we need some space. That sounds like maybe him and Rosalia have a thing going on or had a thing going on. I'm not the type to overly analyze and speculate that, but it just was, for me personally, it's funny when your friend is really into something and you're really into a completely different thing, and neither one of you is ready bandwidth wise to take the step and make the effort to fully get into the other person's thing, because it's if they're your friend, right, you agree with their tastes on some level, right? So what they're into, whether it's movies, music, whatever, it's probably good or probably adjacent to things you would like, so you're going to check it out eventually. But it's don't maybe have the time right now, whatever, and then it's boom, on Instagram there's some collaboration with this person in this thing. I know a lot of times, so I'm big into Lego. A lot of my friends know I'm into Lego. They'll always be Lego and something they're into, because Lego been killing it, I feel in the last couple of years in their marketing department. But so it's hilarious for me that somebody my friend is super into, and then obviously who I'm super into, Drake, there may be something going on, dude. So we gotta look into that. Hey, thanks for watching there, guy. Click right over here if you want to see that episode in its entirety. Or you can click over here and subscribe to the channel. See all the other fun shit we do here. It's really up to you, guy.